Hey guys, Tanner here. WoW had recently released a breakdown of classic WoW server population for EU and US realms. Don't worry, I'll be leaving a link in the description below for you to check out. This breakdown shows a combined 4 million characters being created since launch. They've measured this with the census add-on that constantly scans /who and reports the information to the database after the player logs off. While this does not mean there are 4 million unique players on Classic, it does give some information to go off of. For instance, since the add-on scans /who, it will not report characters that have been created but not logged into. If we say that every player has 3 toons that they've logged onto, let's say their main, an alt character, and a banker, the number of players on Classic WoW in EU and US is somewhere around 1.33 million. Classic WoW has been a smashing success and will have lasting effects on retail as well. But I am noticing the first major drop-off is starting to take place just over 3.5 weeks in. A number of guildies and friends are starting to not log on anymore. Why is this? And what does it mean for Classic moving forward? Well, let's take a look at top 6 reasons Classic WoW numbers are decreasing, shall we? And also disclaimer, these are not my personal opinions, this is just information I've gathered after speaking with other players. I'll let you know my opinion at the end of the video. Now, on with the list. Number 1, the hype is gone. We all remember the exact moment Classic WoW was announced at BlizzCon 2017. The hype was real. It was a huge sigh of relief after the ongoing drama surrounding Blizzard and Astarius. Blizzard obviously knew people were hyped and wanted it to snowball in a big way. Why else would they have a Classic WoW demo available for everyone who wanted to participate in BlizzCon 2018, but only a small portion allowed in the beta prior to release? People may have lost some sort of hype in participating in the beta so close to the release time. Blizzard created what is known as an artificial scarcity, which is the value of a product being drastically increased by there being very little available, but not through natural circumstances. Look at it this way. The Swift Spectral Tiger is one of the most iconic mounts ever to be in World of Warcraft. This TCG exclusive is an extremely rare and sought after mount, for there being very little to ever exist. Blizzard could release a multitude more of these Swift Spectral Tiger codes, but if they did, it wouldn't be anything to drool over. The same goes for WoW Classic. If they allowed more people in the beta, when it was released, there wouldn't really be anything to drool over. Number 2, queue times. Servers have been jam-packed since launch, leaving a significant queue time for most realms. Individuals who only have a few hours to play after work are getting discouraged by having to spend at least an hour in queue to log in. Queue times do show that the game is alive and well, but it can have a lasting negative impression on certain players. It does not feel good when you only have 2 hours to play, and half of it is sitting in a queue. Queue times are certainly coming down, which is evidence that less people are attempting to log in, and we may see these players return in a month or so once these queue times are gone. Number 3, packed zones. This one gets on everyone's nerves. Zones that are packed with players fighting over the same quest mob, only for you to not get it and have to wait for it to respawn. Layering has done a good job reducing this, but it's still a thorn in everyone's side. People will endlessly gank the opposing faction if they're trying to take quest mobs that they need for themselves. So you have to hope it's your faction killing the mobs in your area or be ready to basically face off. A legitimate method for getting around it being the same faction is, well, not helping a fellow Horde or Alliance member when it's needed. My group has run up on another Horde group trying to kill an elite, and I actually told them in Discord, don't help. Let them die if it means that we don't have to wait for the mob to respawn. I mean, survival of the fittest, right? Number 4, falling behind the pack. Friends have been planning out their leveling method for months before Classic launch. They theory craft out their best leveling teams and count down the days until Classic is released. Once the game is released, the friends grind out their levels together. But around level 25, Jimmy has to take 2 days off because his mom makes him go outside. I mean, the bro is 36 years old and hasn't seen the sunlight for weeks at a time. I don't understand why mother pulls this on one of the most important days that he can remember. Jimmy goes to the playground to meet up with his friends. There's no one in sight. They're all logged onto the game. Well, Jimmy is now 10 levels behind his friends. All that preparation he spent with his friends is down the drain. He tries to keep playing in an attempt to catch up, but to no avail. Out of frustration, he decides to log back onto retail where he is captain of his guild's 3rd raid team, since he plays a white knight with 14 extra charisma points. Number 5. Quality of life, or too much of a grind. Individuals log into WoW Classic for something different. They're tired of retail and think they want a taste of what the Classic experience is like. Well, they think they do, but they don't. After a few weeks of trying out the game, they're tired of the grind. They're used to leveling at such faster speed due to quality of life changes that retail has made. Without Dungeon Finder, heirlooms, or an early/cheap mount, the game feels dull. These players will either try out many different classes in a short period of time or stop playing around level 30. Number 6, content being cleared. On launch day, players were ready to blow through the leveling process as quick as possible. With their energy drinks on hand and diapers snugly fit, they departed from their normal lives. They hit level 60 in about a week or two and rushed through the gearing/attunement process, and after easily clearing through all the content, they realized that the game was over with for the time being. Phase 2 is not out yet, so the PvP system isn't in the game. They now only log on to clear raids or to socialize with friends. The game is far easier than these players remember or expected, so they lost interest once content is cleared. Don't worry though, these players have not ventured off too far. They will definitely be back. With these reasons listed out, let me be the first to say that the classic WoW fanbase is not in danger by any means. Sure, some members have logged off, but I can guarantee a majority of those players will be back in time to either A, finish grinding out levels once the queue times die down, or B, to raid or participate in PvP once the new content is out. In future phases, it'll be easier to retain the players as well, since they will have the rank 14 grind and multiple raids to do every week, rather than just only Onyxia and Ragnaros. If there's any advice for players out there that I can give, it's to finish the leveling grind while you can. Because once phase 2 hits, the PvP system will be introduced and leveling will be substantially harder. Now, my opinion, I'm in love with the old Azeroth, and personally don't plan on going anywhere, even if endgame content is cleared relatively easily. Classic WoW overall is alive and well, and I'm sure retail will benefit from this also. Players will get burnt out of Classic, and rather than going to a different game, they'll go to BFA and start bouncing back and forth between the patch cycles. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean, you do have a constitutional right to be wrong if you choose to. Either way, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know if there's any that I missed. If there's a number 7 or a number 8 you'd like to throw in, throw it in. Consider leaving a like on the video since it does help me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And always consider subscribing to the channel with the notifications on for future releases. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in Azeroth.